Hi everyone, Nick here, and today we're looking back at another F1 2020 league race. This time we're looking at the Vietnam Grand Prix at the Hanoi Street Circuit, which made up round 13, unlucky for some, of the third season of the Serious Racing League. Now, I really like the Vietnam track. I know quite a lot of people really don't like it at all, but I find it an interesting challenge. Sector 1 is weird, I'll concede that point, and the start of Sector 2, which we're approaching now in this practice race, is also a bit of an odd one, especially this corner. Very strange going round the roundabout, but I think from there on here, I really like the back straight. You've got the hairpin, and then Sector 3 is a really fun sector. It's one of those nice S's, sets of corners, but it's on a street circuit, which is different, so I think that's why I like this particular challenge. But I've never really done amazingly well here in the couple of league races that we've done. Generally, something's gone wrong, whether it's turn 1 or me driving into a wall on a straight. Let's forget about that. But I was hoping that maybe my luck could change and I could have a good race here. One thing that wasn't really going to help matters though was that it was heavy rain in qualifying. It was a dry race, so that's good, but we were going to be on full wet tyres for qualifying, which is going to make matters very difficult, and there was no real prospect of anything drying out. So the usual plan in qualifying when it's wet conditions is just get out there, put a bit of fuel in, and then go round and just try and get a feel for where we want to brake, how we want to turn in. So first lap we went 7th on the grid, we were 156, and then on the second lap we had a bit more knowledge, a bit more confidence, and we were able to go just over a second quicker to a 155.2 and go up to 4th on the grid. And I was planning on doing another lap. I still had enough fuel. I had over 2 laps of fuel. That was going to be fine, but I don't know if I just took my eye off the ball, saw the car in front. I just had a really poor opening few corners. Very easy to get them wrong in Vietnam because they're so fiddly and tricky. So by this point I thought, no, we've had a bit of a mare there, let's turn everything down and come in for a fresh set of wet tyres and go again. And we were nowhere. Pace just wasn't there. I didn't really make any mistakes, but as you can see, top right hand corner, about 1.5 seconds off, and I thought, has it got wetter? Has something gone wrong? Have I just forgotten how to drive a track? But I had one more go. As you can see, we're crossing the line with 30 seconds left to go. We're down to 6th. We need to make this one count. So we're going to brake around 100 metres, get it down to first gear, and then slowly and tentatively up the gears. We're looking for a white line across the track. At that point we brake and turn into the apex down to second, use a little bit of a curb on the left hand side, try and get the car nice and straight and then accelerate down the straights. And we're pretty much break even compared to our previous best through sector 1. So again here we're going to brake a little bit earlier than 100 metres, down through the gears to second, and then here it's all about biding the time, getting the car round the corner so we can get it in a straight line and then bang straight down the straight. And this is a really long straight, so we want to make sure we get a good release onto it. And while we are making up a teensy bit of time compared to our previous best, we're about a 10th off, so better than the previous lap, but still down on our previous best. So we get the car stopped, we get it turned in, a little bit more curb than I'd like on the apex of the hairpin, and we wrestle the car through the acceleration zone there, and we've managed to gain, well, a quarter of a second through that, so that's quite good. We brake nice and late as we dare for that corner, and get it again straight, and then tentative on the throttle, lifting slightly through there, again lifting, and taps light amounts of brake to try and get the car turned, keep it on the apexes. And we've done really well here. We managed to get within 6 tenths better than our previous best turn it into that one. It's really, really tricky, that one. And then we've got one corner left. Try to get as tight on the apex, but not too wide. Floor it, and we've taken 0.8 off of our previous best, now 154.434, and that was good enough for 4th on the grid. And I was very happy with that because, as I've said before, wet weather isn't necessarily my area of expertise. The Haas isn't particularly good anyway, but it's especially not particularly good in the wet. So yeah, I was happy with that and hoping we could do well in the race. So we're going to start on a fresh set of soft tyres, 5 lights, away we go. We don't get an amazing getaway off the line, and we're already under pressure from Tony on the right hand side. That's fine, he's gone past us. What we really need to do at this point is not let Stefano through, because he's right behind us and thinking about going up the inside, but he is on hard tyres and we do not want to get stuck behind Stefano on hard tyres. So we've managed to get through the first few corners unscathed, and then, well, before we even know what's going on, there's been some shambles behind and there is a safety car, so that neutralises the race immediately. And yeah, we did a few laps behind the safety car. End of lap 3, the safety car was coming in. I don't think anyone out of the front did any pit stops. It was far too early for that, only lap 3 of 28. And yeah, we go again. Now, as ever, I tried to be nice and cautious, a little bit too quick through there. It means we don't get a good getaway down the pit straight. And we've lost touch with the cars in front, but I wasn't too concerned about that. Again, it's early on in the race. I just want to survive the restart and not lose any places. No point in having a silly mistake. And even though I was confident I could catch the cars in front, unfortunately Maxi was looking pretty racy behind me, so I was concerned about him. What I wasn't concerned about, and should have maybe been, was that he was going to give me a bit of a nudge into turn 1, which I think he just misjudged the braking point and clipped the back of me, and it happens, so that's fair enough. And what he was very kindly able to do after that was to then pull over to the side, slow down, and then let me take the place again. So fair play, Maxi, thank you very much for that. And it was interesting because DP managed to sneak through as well and get into 7th place. So Maxi inadvertently costing himself 2 places with that letting me through manoeuvre, which was a bit cheeky from DP, but you know, what's he going to do? Just wait? It's not going to happen. Anyway, that meant we had DP on our tail, and he was in the Red Bull. It's not amazing down the straights, but we don't want to get behind him because we want to get forward. We want to get after Rye and Jerome in front of us. And we don't have a great hairpin here. You can see we go really deep, leave the inside open, and that lets DP sneak up the inside there. He gets ahead of us, but we put rich fuel on and overtake to try and see if we can get the overtake done here. So we're on the inside and we go up the inside, but we leave him the space and he's going to get a better exit than us, and in the end he's able to claim the position. So that's us down into 7th. We've gone a bit backwards from 4th on the grid, so it wasn't really ideal, but this is where we now needed to go on the attack. So you can see here we've got rich fuel on, we've got overtake, we're going to have DRS, so we're going to try and get past DP down the epically long back straight. So you can see DRS is now wide open and we're going to go for the inside line. DP doesn't really fight it too much. We brake much better than last time, a little bit of a lock-up, but we get the job done much better, and we are up into 6th place. And we've got Jerome a couple of seconds down the road, and Rye is another 4 ahead of him, so we want to try and catch up with him. So by lap 9 we'd managed to take a decent chunk out of those 2 in front of us, but Jerome decides actually he'd rather pit, and that really helped us out because it meant we didn't get held up by him, so that put us up into 5th place. And then just as we were catching Rye, he then pitted, as did Tony in front of him, and that was going to put us up to 3rd once they, well, with pit lane cuts the last couple of corners, so we were right up there, and we were able to go up to lap 13 on our soft tyres before we needed to pit, which was the same as Mav, who was pitting from the lead. And that was my plan. My plan was to pit on lap 13 from soft tyres and then put some mediums on till the end, and any safety cars that came out would help me with my tyre life and conservation, that kind of thing. So the question, as always, is how can we do in terms of losing places? And it's a very weird pit lane here because of how much it actually cuts the track. So you can see here we've gone down to 5th place, but Rye is going to temporarily demote us to 6th, but because the pit lane cuts turn 1, we're going to jump him straight back again. And remember, he was a couple of seconds ahead of us earlier in the race, and we've managed to do the overcut on him, which doesn't really happen very much in this game. But anyway, we then found ourselves in 5th place behind Miles, who was on hard tyres going to the end. And I caught up with him pretty quickly, but the problem was I just couldn't get past him. He was quick enough down the straights, and even with all my goodies switched on, I just didn't gain anything. It was just really frustrating. So what I ended up doing is just not using anything for a few laps. Built up some charge. You can see my ERS is now on 70%. So my plan now, rich fuel, overtake, get the tow. Okay, fine, we're maybe not going to gain too much at this point, but when we get the DRS and when we keep the overtake on all the way down, that means that we are going to get that little bit of extra acceleration at the end, a little bit of top speed, pick our braking point really nicely, I have to say there, and get it turned in, and we get the job done. So nice little plan there, and it worked. I love it when a plan comes together. And we were up into 4th place, and we had Tony 4 seconds ahead of us. Next lap it was down to 3, so we were thinking this could be interesting, this could be a bit of battle. Can we manage to catch him by the end of the race? And we would, because there is a safety car which came out with a few laps left. So the question at this point was, does anyone want to pit for a cheap second stop? Because lots of people were on reasonably old mediums. So you can see Tony on the left hand side, he pitted, went straight into the pit lane, and a lot of cars behind did the exact same thing. But I decided I would rather have track position. My tyres didn't feel too bad, and I thought, do you know what, probable worst case scenario, they'll get past me, but maybe I won't finish any lower than I am now. Interestingly, the safety car came out too late to allow Blarg or Mav the chance to pit under the safety car. So Mav took the opportunity to pit from the lead on the end of lap 21 to come in for some fresh softs. He was going to lose track position, but felt that maybe it was the best way to attack. I kind of agree with him. But that was great for us because that put us in 2nd place. So when we restarted at the end of lap 23, I wasn't at any point really thinking I can do anything about Blarg in front of us. He was just going to be too fast on his soft tyres in his AlphaTauri. But the plan was hold the cars behind. And you can see this restart's gone a lot better than the last one because we've got a gap of well over a second to the 2 cars behind Rye and Tony. And I was hoping that Rye was going to hold Tony up for a little bit longer, but unfortunately Tony got through pretty much straight away and was 1.5 seconds behind. So at this point I thought, we've got 5 laps, including the one we're on. Let's see what we can do. So fast forward to lap 25, and the gap is half a second behind, and then we have another safety car. And this was annoying because it gets annoying when you have too many safety cars, I find, and it disrupts your flow. But also really, really good for me because it was really obvious that Tony was quite quick, and he had Mav behind him who was also quite quick, and they were both on fresh softs. So there was a good chance that if they were able to stick with me through the first and the second sector, they'd be able to breeze past me with DRS down the back straight we're on right now. But with a safety car coming out, that put things back in my favour because it was just using up laps, and of course DRS gets disabled for the 2 laps after the safety car comes in. So as long as the safety car stayed out for a minimum of 2 laps, we weren't going to have DRS. So if I saved up my rich fuel and my EOS, then maybe we could fight with the cars behind. However, there was one issue. You see that message at the top reminded me to stay under the safety car delta? I didn't at the time. I completely forgot about the delta, and I'm just nowhere near it. And as you'll see, that results in me getting a drive-through penalty for speeding behind the safety car. So great job there, Nick. My own fault, completely my fault there. And yeah, just took my eye off the ball and forgot about it. So the safety car was coming in at the end of lap 26, and I just had to basically gun it from here and hope that somehow I could get a good restart, pull some kind of gap on the pack, and then see what happens. So Tony thought about a move up the inside. Slightly annoying as well because we missed out on that battle that was potentially going to happen between me and Tony. So then at the end of lap 27 I was still second, but we come in for our drive-through. And at this point I wasn't really sure what was going on because I haven't had drive-through for quite a while, maybe not even on this game, but normally when you serve a penalty it comes up with a penalty icon at the top of the screen. But you can see the car is going straight through. However, this didn't actually count as a drive-through because if you get a drive-through penalty in the last 5 laps, you just get a 20-second penalty. You don't actually have to do the drive-through, even though the game told me I had a drive-through and didn't tell me anything about the time penalty. So I'd basically driven through the pits for absolutely no reason. I'm not entirely sure why it didn't just give me tyres, why it just said, yeah, have a drive-through that doesn't count. But anyway, it meant we came out onto the track in 14th place. We had a bit of a last final lap scrap with Coulthard, as you can see at the beginning of the lap, and then he tried to sneak up the inside of a hairpin. He's on the left hand side. We've got some red arrows, so he's going to try and see what he can do into the start of sector 3, but we've got the inside line and we're not going to let him go around the outside like we did for DP. We basically just say no thank you there. But yeah, we at this point didn't realise that I was going to get another penalty for not serving a drive-through, which I'd served. But you know, that is what happens sometimes. Maybe I should have known that was a rule. I would say that it would be really beneficial if the game were to actually say you don't need to serve that penalty, or just say it's a 20-second penalty. But there we go. So I crossed the line in 13th, but actually ended up finishing 15th after those additional 20 seconds were applied. So eventually, once I scroll down, you'll see the final result. And it's going to take me a while because I'm not even in the top 14. So there we go, 15th place, 20 seconds worth of penalties on top of that drive-through. And yeah, it's yet another Vietnam Grand Prix where it hasn't gone to plan for me, unfortunately. But hey ho, it's not too bad. Lots of other people in the title race. Let's pretend I'm in it. They haven't really picked up too many points. We're still only 34 points off the lead, and there's still 9 races to go, so plenty to play for between now and the end of the season. So, what have we learnt from the Vietnam Grand Prix? I suppose 2 things really. Number 1, pay attention. Kind of helps, especially on a street circuit. You can ask Jolyon Palmer that. Second thing would be know the rules. I mean, it is somewhat obscure. I can't say I ever knew that end of race penalties like stop goes and drive-throughs turned into just pure time penalties, but apparently they do. I know for future, and now you do too, so learn from my mistake and don't do it yourself. But I mean, my race was ruined either way really by my own inability to pay attention to things that are on the screen telling me not to speed. So hey ho, is what it is. We move on and do better next time, hopefully. Anyway, that's the end of this video. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, then don't forget to do the old liking and subscribing stuff. It helps me out massively with the channel, and it is humongously appreciated, so thank you for that. If you want to catch up with me on social media like Instagram and Twitter, then details in the description, as well as a link to our Discord where we hang out between races and videos. And if you want to see these league races live as they happen, then head on over to Twitch. They happen every Wednesday and Sunday. Details on the screen and in the description below. But until next time and the next video, goodbye.